Welcome, everyone, to episode 61 of the Circle Back Podcast, the show where three great friends get together and just talk about video games. I'm Dan LaMarca. As always, I'm joined by Dan Dufresnoy.
Hello, everybody.
And Shelby White is not here.
So we don't have three.
I know.
It doesn't work.
You know what, though, Dan? We like consistency in our lives. So
yeah, I'm going to miss you, Shelby.
the intro stays no matter who's here.
Shelby, I miss you.
We all miss Shelby. He's a little under the weather.
Yeah, we
so
hope you're feeling better, bud.
He is not able to make it here today, so we have a little nice, intimate mano-y-mano podcast right here. Dan, we are my plan is kind of nice, low-key, hang out.
I like that.
It's a nice, lazy Sunday
I see
morning.
you got some wine coolers in the corner.
Yeah, wine coolers is what you go with, huh?
Some Cheez-Its.
What flavor are the wine coolers?
Raspberry.
I have a couple games that I want to talk about, and then I have an idea where we're going to kind of go through and do like a Game of the Year check-in. I remember years ago I was a fan of Game Scoop, and they would like quarterly check in on like the highest reviewed games of the year to like kind of keep fresh in your mind the games that you liked so that they don't get fallen by the wayside if they're earlier or,
right.
you know, kind of reevaluate how you feel about games. So after we talk about games, I kind of want to do that and just go through all the games that we played this year and just kind of, you know.
What I really like, a lot of reviewing outlets, Polygon's the first one that comes to my mind. I'm not sure if it's even them, but I think GameSpot, I think Polygon too, when they do their Game of the Year, what they do is it's just like a consistent, like they start like in January, and they'll be like, this could be continually added, like lists, and
that's a Polygon thing. They do like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I like that they do that because by the time Game of the Year actually happens, it seems like the freshest games, maybe not in all cases, but like last year, it seemed like the games that were like later in the year for me were much more. I had fonder memories of them.
Yeah,
I really had to like.
Recency bias is a real thing, like something you see and you love, you'd be like, oh man, like I really love that, and it's fresh in your brain, But
then going back, it was like, oh no, like Celeste was the best game.
And that's why it's nice sometimes to do these sort of things. So we're doing kind of a mid-year check-in, try to reappraise, think about, see how we feel about a bunch of these games that we loved earlier in the year.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Before we get into that, Dan, what you been playing, bud?
So what should I start with? I'll just start with one that I've already talked about. I been playing some more Devil May Cry. I really didn't get to play much last week. I was actually away, but playing some more Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I'm really close.
Devil May Cry 5, right?
I'm sorry, Devil May Cry 5.
Just making sure.
And I'm still loving it. Still the same feelings. It's getting really, really goofy, and I really, really like that.
Yeah.
For all of you that don't know, the infamous Dante dance scene just happened, and I loved it. I went on YouTube and watched it 7 more times. But I'm enjoying it. It's really a lot of fun, and it's one of those games that, I don't. When I think of it, I have very, very good like feelings towards it, and just it's a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see, how I feel about it, a year from now, 2 years from now.
Yeah, of course.
It was definitely an incredibly made game.
Yeah.
An incredibly enjoyable game.
Yeah.
And that's really all I have to say about it. And I have nothing bad to say about it.
But we're always looking for games to be like,
what?
These amazing, narrative experiences that'll stick with us for years. And sometimes it's fun just to have like a popcorn flick kind of game.
That's it. It's like the ultimate, like John Carpenter-esque, like it's going to be amazing, action, ridiculous, over the top,
silly,
but like enjoyable.
Yes.
All the same. And
I think I'm personally glad that not every single studio is going the Sony route of prestige, first person or third person, close camera,
right,
serious. I'm glad that there's a breadth of, because you want that not only. So the indie space often makes up for like kind of course corrects for AAA games, right? Because they'll be like, okay, a lot of AAA games are, it started with AAA games are big action games, and then indies where you start to see some like emotional depth, some real narrative, and then Now AAA is kind of starting to do that, so you can count on indie to kind of like
balance the
scales. But it's nice when you have a variety in the AAA space alone.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's kind of, I mean, if you look back, especially over the last 10 years, like there is not much variety in the AAA space. You know, like there really isn't. It's either you get two camps. You get big bombastic,
right,
Call of Duty type stuff. And you get...
Or you see what Days Gone was trying to do, that sort of...
Right, well, I mean, Sony is the studio, you know, the company that's kind of mastered that, like I said, prestige, you know. You think of, like, you know, Academy Award-winning films, like that's what they're going for with their games, and they don't always hit, you know. Look at, obviously, what's it called with David Cage...
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Like,
Become Human.
So, you know, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like they're trying that constantly. Like that's kind of all they do. You know, obviously they have other studios that do other things. Like maybe Molecule does.
It's amazing, but when it you're right, when it's a dud.
So it's nice to have something like Devil May Cry 5 in the conversation. It's a big AAA game. It's beautiful. You know, it's like really well made.
But it's campy and silly and like.
Yeah. And
I love it.
I'll always have a soft spot for that kind of stuff.
V's my all-time favorite.
What a guy.
And you said it last podcast. Remember the podcast before that? You know, when you're alternating between characters, when you don't play as for me, it's so funny because I was talking to other people that played the game
and they don't
like V. They're like, oh no, you know, Nero's the guy to play as, but for me, when I'm not playing as V,
it feels
I have
lacking.
less fun. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Also, I'm just not as good with all the combos that Dante has
and
all that stuff,
But it's also there's something about it's just not as enjoyable for me.
Yeah,
like,
same.
But you know, I think there's something to be said about forced variety in that game, just kind of getting you through this. You know what I mean? Like I think, and we won't know this because there's not a game out that's just you can just play as V the whole game.
Right.
But that might get a little
stale.
I
think what's cool about it is all the different characters and their interactions.
Yes.
And, you know. All the stupid puns, you know.
Devil May Cry 5. Definitely continue that. I think the ending of that game is really fun.
Is this it though? Is this the end of Devil May Cry? Do we know of any?
I don't.
Devil May Cry on the horizon.
Based on what I've seen, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
You know, based on the ending, let's say that.
All right. So Daniel, what have you been playing, sir?
So I'm playing a few games. I'm gonna start with a bit. I'm going to start with a smaller game, My Friend Pedro. This is a game that Shelby was super excited for like a year, and unfortunately he's not here to talk about it.
Shelby.
And even to add insult to injury, I don't think this game is very good.
Oh, no. That's one with the banana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting because I kind of like just don't like anything about it.
Ooh, wow.
Because
what's a nicer way to say you hate it?
But here's the thing. Listen, honestly, a game like Katana Zero came out a month and a half ago, whatever it was, and it has a similar style of it wants to be fast-paced action, you know, repeat when you die, like that sort of thing. That's what My Friend Pedro is, right? You're running through these short levels and clearing the screen, killing enemies, doing stylish stuff, right?
With the banana?
So the banana is your, I'm assuming, imaginary friend.
Okay.
Yeah. And the problem that I have is, number one, it doesn't feel very good to play, in my opinion. I think it's slower than it should be. It doesn't have that kind of, like, frenetic, fast pace that even a game like Katana Zero that I don't love, it feels like snappy, fast. Like the stuff you're doing feels like you're pulling,
it's much more urgent than it
cool
actually,
things off. Yes, this is kind of like there's something about the animation that just feels very slow and not that interesting to me. And again, you know, I talked about Hotline Miami with Katana Zero, but it goes for this too, where it's like if you play My Friend Pedro and Hotline Miami back to back, I could not imagine somebody saying, I prefer My Friend Pedro. Like, it is just, it's trying to do a similar thing, and it's just not doing it.
It's failing in comparison.
Well, in my opinion. And the problem is when I say I don't really like anything about this game, what I mean is, like, the shit
Harsh,
with the shit with
man.
the banana and like like telling you to kill these guys, like the tone of it is totally not for me. Like I'm sure other people will enjoy it, but I'm like cringing a little bit. Like this is lame, and like it thinks it's cool, but it's not.
Okay.
And I'm looking at review scores, a lot of 8s, a lot of high 7s, like stuff like that. So people are enjoying this game. This is definitely my specific perspective on it. It is not, how the world at large feels about this game. Apparently people are enjoying it. Even Katana Zero, this is what I'm saying, a game that is doing a similar thing has a lot more interesting thing going on, mechanically, story-wise, everything. It's just doing something much more interesting than what my friend Pedro is doing.
Interesting.
And the funny part is, little slight peek behind the curtain. I lately have been thinking to myself, like, I need to just I need to stop trying to play every game. I need to, like, games that I know you or Shelby are gonna play, I just need to let you guys play. And so, like, my friend Pedro is a perfect example where I'm like, I know Shelby's been waiting for this game. And I was sitting there, and it's Mario Maker's out on Friday. This was Tuesday. It came out, and I'm like, Bloodstained just came out. Which one of those do I want to play? And I was like, let me just try my friend Pedro. It's on the Switch. I'm going to be out. I'll be able to play on the go, whatever. And literally within like 30 minutes, I was like, why the fuck did I buy this game?
Yeah. Okay.
Not happy about it. I played for about another hour, so I did about an hour and a half. I hear it's not very long, maybe similar to Katana Zero. So, I feel pretty confident in stopping there and saying this game's not for me. The things that I will say that I do like, that I think are interesting about the game is it allows you, so you dual wield weapons, right?
Okay.
And it has a really cool mechanic that doesn't explain itself well, and I see a lot of people like even talking online about being confused about how it works, but it allows you to split the two weapons and shoot in two different directions.
Okay, I remember seeing like gameplay footage of that. Yeah.
So the thing about that is what you have to do is when you're looking at one guy, when you're aiming at one guy, you hold the trigger and it locks that one weapon on that guy.
Okay.
And then you're able to move the other one to where you want and then just start shooting and it'll shoot both, right? But it doesn't explain that very well, and it's a little confusing, and I know for a fact that some people have been getting lost in it, but I know that, me personally, I think that's a cool idea. The way that you're invincible while you like spin is neat, and if any of it felt good at all, I think that these things I would be like, man, this is a really cool mechanic in this game. But it just even the quote unquote like cool stuff does not feel good.
Wow.
And I think it looks ugly. It's just I
just don't like it.
Don't like it.
Wow.
And it's clear. I'm sorry to keep bringing it to Hotline Miami, but it brings those comparisons. It's not shying away from that, right?
Some games are just benchmarks for a reason.
Yes. But what this game is doing is it's trying to like trivialize all the killing you're doing and say something about it. Katana Zero is doing something similar, and both of those games are failings in tone, in my opinion. Like they're not hitting what they think they're trying to hit. Well,
so it's coming off like too self-serious, you think, or like
this game is not. It's in different ways, Katana Zero and my friend Pedro. But my friend Pedro, the way that I'm feeling it is like there's no weight to any of it.
Okay.
Whereas Katana Zero, there's weight to the stuff, and the violence is brutal. Like especially in like cutscenes and stuff, like it can get pretty gruesome. And I think they are trying to say something with it. I don't like the way characters are written in that game. I think it's kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
This one is like, I don't feel any gravity towards the situation, even though the banana is trying to obviously tell you that what you're doing is, like it's clear that it's trying to say, hey, you're murdering all these people. Like that's
not good,
not great, but it doesn't feel consequential in any way.
Okay, interesting. How long is the game? You said it was short.
Well, I didn't read exact numbers, but people were writing. The people that were writing positive reviews were like, "Oh, it's cool, but it's over too soon, whatever."
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's a pretty short game. Like I said, I probably put an hour and a half in,
Gotcha.
and was just like, I am, not enjoying it. So yeah, that's my friend Pedro.
Well said, Daniel.
Let me check what it's on, because I played it on Switch. I know it's on PC. I think it might just be those two for now.
Was it a developer that we know?
No. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like 90, it says right here, 98% of players like this game. Like 10 out of 10 on Steam user reviews. You know. Like,
yeah.
So people are enjoying it.
Well, it's the same thing, and we've said this before with like reviews and stuff like that. You know, like it's the words, it's not the score, because like people that give a Minecraft a 10 out of 10. Minecraft's great if you're into that, but like if you aren't, then it's not.
Yes.
I don't know why Minecraft was the one.
Yeah,
I'm not hating on Minecraft. I
was like, Minecraft can kind of be everything. But
I don't know why yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm seeing just PC and Switch right now. But yeah, I mean, if this is something that you're interested in, you want to give it a try. Like I said, I do think Shelby's enjoying this game. So I'm not. I wish he was here to talk about it right now, but we'll hear from him on the next episode, I'm sure. But
yeah, keep us posted.
Everyone comes to games for different things, and everyone has different. My favorite games or my favorite movies or whatever could be like terrible to watch for some people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not trying to say like, don't play this game, but I am saying my experience with it.
It's not for Dan Lamarca.
I do not enjoy this game.
Not for Dan Lamarca. If it's not for Dan Lamarca, it sure ain't for Dan Dufresnoy. I tell you that.
Dan, I think you're probably right about that one. All right, let's talk about a game that you and I have both been playing.
Okay.
Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night.
Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night.
This is the quote-unquote not Castlevania game by Koji Igarashi and his new team. He did a very similar thing to what they did with Mega Man when Mighty Number 9 came out, right? Like it's a similar type of thing,
right? We're not doing something. Inafune was Mega Man.
KJ Inafune made Mega Man, and then he branched out, did a Kickstarter, made Mighty Number 9. That was a bad game, and nobody liked it. This game is not a bad game.
A lot of people love it. It's getting very, very good reviews.
Yes, I don't love it as much as I hoped I would.
I know,
but the more I play of it, and the more I see like different abilities and different weapons, and they each have like a special move on them that like you use by like using inputs, like a fighting game kind of. I'm starting to kind of get it, but there's so much to it that just feels off,
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain because Curse of the Moon came out
just last year. Last year, which was the prequel to.
Was a prequel to this game and is a very faithful old Castlevania.
It's
game.
A Castlevania.
Like
game.
Castlevania 1.
Yeah.
It feels like Castlevania 1. That's what it's supposed to be, right? The thing that's weird about this game is this is supposed to be Symphony of the Night.
Right.
And
they've been unabashed about that.
Yes. Now, there's a lot to discuss about this game because Curse of the Moon, its pixel art was beautiful. Some of those bosses were really beautiful. I'm thinking of a guy with all the coins.
Oh my gosh, how cool! Yeah, the big hands.
Just such a like striking, almost in like a Shovel Knight type of way, where you're like, wow, look at this art. Like this looks great. This game is ugly.
So that's the thing.
Ritual of the Night is not a pretty game. Now the thing that's weird is some of the enemy designs are really cool, and I like them. But everything feels like at odds with each other. There's no cohesive style. It feels like the backgrounds were made in one engine, and then our character model and the other player characters, and especially when they talk and their big silhouettes pop up and stuff, it's so ugly.
And the animations too, it's very clunky.
It's bad.
And the dialogue
looks bad. Dialogue. I mean, you can expect that from a Castlevania game generally.
That's true,
but it is also 20 years later.
so that's the thing, and me and my sister have been talking about that too. It's like how yes. So this is the guy that did Symphony of the Night, and like, is it unfair? I mean, Symphony of the Night's one of the greatest games of all time. Is it unfair to to stack those two up against each other? And I'd say no, just because
it's not unfair. The thing that I kept coming back to in my head is Hollow Knight came out
right
2 years ago. Hollow Knight is the version of Symphony of the Night that is brought forward into a modern era.
Uh-huh.
It is fun to play. It is faster paced than Symphony of the Night, but it has a lot of those same trappings.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like it could have come out the year after Symphony of the Night with different graphics.
Right.
And and people would have been like, oh, man, this is good, but Symphony of the Night was better.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's how this feels. Not 20 years later. More than 20 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I'm kind of losing it a little bit. I am having fun with this game, and I think it does things well. But you're right. The animations are strange, and they're long, and they're like weird frame. Where are you playing this? PS4?
PS4, yeah.
So I should say right off the bat, Bloodstained, Vigil of the Night, do not play it on Switch.
Are you playing on the Switch?
No, but I'm reading about it, and there's literally 3 to 4 times the amount of input lag on a Switch as PS4 or PC. Even the PS4 version, I've heard rough things about, like certain areas you're gonna get really bad frame rates.
And even then, even the response times for controls are very, very clunky. You can switch between items. I gotta say the one really good thing is I think their upgrade system and their inventory system very, very well done.
I like it.
But there'll be a horde of enemies or bats or whatever, and you want to I had to equip a whip because it's Castlevania. Right. So, but even that, the response times I felt were, I was in the,
I know it takes a while to get those attacks out, and it doesn't feel good in that way.
It doesn't feel good to play.
Yeah, which is kind of. So I know a lot of people are so number one, playing it on PC, I've heard is much better. Like basically, people are saying. It's the only way to play it. On PS4, it's very delayed. On Switch, it's crazy, unplayable almost.
Really? Okay.
Which is upsetting. But the people that I'm hearing, when you play on PC, it runs really well and it feels better.
Okay.
I think regardless of that, that doesn't take away the issues that we have with the game. You know what I mean? I think it would help if it was more responsive, had less input lag. I don't think that would be make or break though, because I think the animations themselves are slow, whether there's input lag or not. And it just feels, and I know that's kind of what Castlevania is. I'm not, because that is what it is. You do the whip animation and it takes a little while to come out. It's not like an instantaneous.
So, but it's an interesting thing to think about, especially, because I know we love Castlevania. Is that something that we just end up loving about Castlevania, or is that, Castlevania, the first game came out in 1986, and we just got to say, that was an old game. Right. Times have changed so much.
This is always the question with this kind of stuff, because I do like games that have animation priority, like Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Those games, animations take a while to come out intentionally because it's kind of a risk-reward type of thing.
Right.
So the difference is you just kind of feel it, right? If it feels right, it feels right.
So even like a Dark Souls or something like that, you get it when you have, you carry a hammer, know that it's going to, take some time. Right. I don't know how much of this. I could look at it because I love Castlevania and be like, oh, well, they're just trying to make it like a hark back to the old games, or just say, it just doesn't feel the way that I want it to.
I know. I'm having a bit of a discussion every time I'm playing it. I'm thinking, all right, what am I enjoying about it, and what am I not enjoying about it?
What's even harder is that I'm just constantly I don't want to not like it. I don't want to not like it. I'm going to find something that I really, really and I know people love it, but I probably, if there's any franchise other than Mario or Zelda, I've played every game. It's Castlevania.
Right.
So for me, I was very, very hyped, and I wonder if that's what's. Again,
it's part of it.
Is that what's letting me down?
Well, it's probably part of it.
Yeah.
But I think even if you weren't super hyped for it, if this game dropped, you'd be feeling the same way,
Because I loved Curse of the Moon. I thought that was just a very, very true, perfect Castlevania game. and it was easy, but at the same time, like you said, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed what they were doing. They wore their heart on their sleeve. And this is just...
I really think that for this game, for me, it comes down to, I think they have some good ideas, and I think they do some cool things. I just don't think it's like a great game.
Yeah.
I don't. And that sucks to say because we've been waiting for this. I compared it to you. I texted you, and I said this is this year's Mega Man 11 because what it is, man, this is another one of those games, but it's just not. It doesn't feel special.
Oh, I thought you loved Mega Man 11.
I do. I'm talking about the general idea because you felt that way.
That's how I felt.
Didn't you feel that way?
I felt that way where I was like, oh, man, I love Mega Man. Cool, this is another one of these, but there's something, I can't put my finger on it, and maybe that's my own fault, but, like, same thing with this game. Like, I love the Castlevania games, and there's something about it that I can't put my finger on and be like, I just don't feel the same when I'm playing it.
A perfect... So, I really like Mega Man 11. But it wasn't on my personal top 10 of the year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Whether or not I'm looking at it objectively and I'm saying, man, I really think this is a great Mega Man game.
Yeah.
It didn't, like... Could you imagine Mega Man 2 came out last year? I think it would be on my top 10.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so, as much as I can feel a certain way and say, like, man, I really enjoy this game while I'm playing it, I said it's the third best Mega Man game. I still probably believe that. I think it's just maybe... our ideals change, and what we can excuse in 2019 is different than what we can excuse in 1989.
Well, that's exactly it, and that's the whole thing with the controls being clunky, and I've thought maybe this is like a hark back to clunky Castlevania controls, but at the same time, I don't know if that's like
I don't think that's a good excuse.
If that's just making me an excuse,
whether that's intentional or not, I don't think that's a good thing.
Right.
Like I said, Hollow Knight is a Castlevania game.
Oh man, Hollow Knight's the best Metroidvania game that's not a Metroid or a Castlevania game.
But that's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean though? Yeah. That's what you have to keep thinking too is I have a game that is current that feels like a carrying of the torch of those Castlevania games. Hollow Knight's so good. So you don't need to, like I said, intentionality is a discussion we can have about this game until the cows come home, but it's like, does it matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter? Because we have games that do it better and don't need to hold on. No, don't need to say, The Messenger last year.
Okay.
They had a lot of things that they intentionally put in because it felt like Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden, yeah.
It ultimately did not bring the experience of a Ninja Gaiden because it takes more than just here are some things.
Here's a ninja and this.
Well, what I'm saying is like actually mechanically, like it felt like you can grab onto the wall on the side and stuff, and like they did some things that intentionally were, hey, here's what we like about Ninja Gaiden, but you need more, and I think taking the ideas and like the ethos of those older games and then making your own thing is ultimately you get a better product than saying I'm taking the old thing and just as it is
putting a new paint
and
on
putting a new coat of paint and new enemy types and new whatever. I don't time has shown us that doing that isn't enough. Whereas a game like Braid or a game like Hollow Knight,
that turns it on its head a little bit.
That is doing something, making their own thing while carrying a spirit and a lot of times a design ethos, like I said, bringing that forward and making your own product, I think is clearly more successful.
True.
And I think this falls in the camp of, hey, remember that old game? I'm making it again.
Yeah, you think it relied too much on Symphony of the Night?
Because guess what? If this game came out and it was Symphony of the Night, but it had like an awesome story, nice, beautiful graphics, felt like fast to play, we'd be singing a different tune.
Right.
But
it's not.
It's not in any of those ways. You know what I mean? And I am enjoying the game, and I will continue to play this game. Like I'm not turned off by it in a way where I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to play this. I'm more like, this is a good game that should be a great game and it's not.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a shame.
that's kind of how I feel about it.
And I have the same, I have the same exact feeling because when you texted me, I think I said the same thing, and it was so funny because reading all the reviews, everybody's, oh, well, this is great. I'm like, why am I not?
Right.
Because I feel like I would be the first person to, I'm a Castlevania fanboy, so like, I'd be the first one to be like, yeah, all right, and I'm not. So it's so interesting for me to.
I'm curious as we get a little deeper in, and if anything changes, we'll check back in on the next episode. But
sure.
As of right now, it's not doing it for me. But you know what the problem is? There's other things to play that I'm really enjoying, and it's like this is on the back burner now, and I wouldn't have expected that.
My sister said it best. She said, let's just play Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, can't disagree with that.
But either way, though, it's an exciting time to be a Castlevania fan. Hopefully, there is a more push for these sort of games, and the anime is incredible, so watch the anime if you guys have a chance.
It is really, really good. Season 2
is
way
better than the first one, but
yeah,
exciting time to be a Castlevania fan.
Definitely, absolutely. All right, well, that was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I have 2 more games on this list, 2 more new games on this list.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that.
I was trying to do remember Tumble in Mario Party 3? I didn't do the voice very well.
What a fucking deep cut. Tumble in
I told you
Mario Party 3.
I like Mario games.
Let's talk about Mario games then, Dan. I see what you want to talk about.
Okay.
I have been playing Super Mario Maker 2.
All right.
Just came out this past Friday. We're recording on Sunday. I haven't had a ton of time to play. But I will give you my impressions on what I have played. I haven't touched the creator mode. I heard there's an awesome tutorial that actually teaches you game design ideas and has a good sense of humor. I hear it's awesome. Haven't touched it. What I have touched is I did mostly story mode.
Okay.
And what the story mode is like any modern day Mario game, actually any Mario game ever. In the beginning, something happens, and oh no, we gotta fix it, right? That's every
Save the princess.
That's every Mario game, right? So in this, it's Peach's Castle. It's really cute, but I'll say it's right in the beginning. The undo dog from Mario Paint.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was in. They have a lot of Mario Paint things in Super Mario Maker, the first one. So he's in this, and he's running around, and all of a sudden, a reset button pops up on the ground. And all the Toads and Mario are like, oh no, the reset button. Please, nobody hit that. What is that doing here? And the underdog's running around, and it walks over and just sticks its snout on it. And everything they just built, because they just finished building Peach's Castle, just gets erased. So then it's all right, start from scratch. We're rebuilding Peach's Castle, right? The way that plays out in the game is you basically go to... There's a foreman, Toadette. I believe Toadette is the foreman, and then there's a taskmaster, Toad. And you go to the taskmaster, and he has different missions for you. And what these missions are Nintendo created Mario Maker levels that all have a specific design in mind. They're themed, whatever, and it's really cool. It's adorable. They have little write-ups, and they're all written the levels are made by these fictional creators. So there's MC Master or something that's a DJ kind of guy, and so he's saying yo, check this level out, I made it, it's got hooks, he's silly. And then it's there'll be one that's I forget what they call it, but it's basically Bowser made the level. And they have it's somebody's dad or something, something silly, and it's written in all caps, and they do a good job. But what you're doing is you're doing these levels and you're earning coins. So it's okay, this mission, it will earn you 100 coins, and whatever coins you collect in the level, add on to that, right? Then you go to Toadette, the foreman, and she has different projects for you. So it's all right, build main tower, first floor. It costs 600 coins to start, right? So when you get 600 coins, you put them in, and the Toads start working. And it'll show a little progress meter. It'll be 3 little hammers. and every time you beat a mission, one of the hammers gets filled up. Like progress has gone.
Okay.
So like you're adding coins to start the projects, and then the projects are being finished as you're doing levels. Yeah. And the thing, so number one is the levels that Nintendo created are awesome, and I really, really love them. And they do such a good job of showcasing how different these levels can be from one another. One like standout is there's this level that basically it's like 6 discrete like one screen levels that each time you complete it, it's like a little puzzle room. Each time you complete one of the puzzles, you get a key, and the keys unlock. It's basically this set of doors separated by blocks. And you need to open the door with a key to get to the next little door, to open with a key to get the next little door. So it's like, all right, you need 3 keys or 4 keys or whatever. Go to these 4 of these 6 puzzle rooms, figure them out, and all you have is in the main like hub, there's a POW block, a spring board, and I forget what the other one is. Anyway, there's like 3 tools you have basically at your disposal of how you're going to solve these puzzles. And then you go into the puzzle room and you're like, all right, how am I supposed to do that? What am I even supposed to do here? Like one of them is like, it's like a Karibo shoe. So is the third thing.
Okay.
So one of them will be like, all right, there's 6 boos in here and nothing else. They don't tell you anything. It's like, well, I know that if you have Karibo shoe, you can jump on a boo's head and kill it.
Gotcha.
So you jump on all of the boo's heads, a key pops out. Run out, open the door. All right, let me go to a different room, try to solve this one, and you're like solving these little puzzles, and it feels so unique because you don't get these kind of interesting takes on what a Mario level can be, except for in this kind of game.
Okay.
And seeing Nintendo create all these different levels, like one of them is like, there's these hooks that grab you and you can swing and then you let go. One of them is like a whole platforming level with just the hooks. Another one is like, so there are like conditions that you need to complete and then finish the stage.
Okay.
In this game, that's a new thing that they added. One of them is like,
so it's also not A to B.
Yeah, exactly. So one of them, what might be like, okay, defeat 10 Goombas and then finish, and you can't beat the level until you defeat 10 Goombas, right? But one of them that's really cool is another one of these stages in the story mode is, it's like, your feet cannot leave the ground and then touch the ground the entire level. So you cannot jump, and you cannot leave the ground and walk off an edge and hit the ground, or you lose.
Okay.
So what you're doing is, it's like a series of like obstacles that you need to figure out how to do without jumping. And so you're like, there's a boo over here and there's like a dip down like this, it's like a little dip in the ground. It's like, all right, I need to turn around, let the boo come over here, and then turn back around and then walk underneath the boo.
Cool, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, there's a Monty Mole with a bullet bill shooter on his head. So when he pops out of the ground, you can walk onto the top of the bullet bill shooter. And then when he jumps to throw his wrench, you can just land on the platform above.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But if you like fail like a mission during a level, is it like X got to start from the beginning?
So it doesn't. It's interesting. It doesn't like kill you. It just says condition failed.
Okay.
Because most of the conditions you can complete, most of them aren't like fail states like that, right? So it'll be like, get all 8 red coins, do this, blah, 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 do this. So I get why they would not want to kill you, but in that certain circumstance where it's like you cannot leave the ground and then touch the ground, it should just kill you because you just have to restart the level or jump off an edge or whatever because you failed, But the story mode is built like this, and you're, the trappings are building the castle or whatever, but really it's just you're going through these different levels that are, themed and handcrafted and whatever. But there's little like secrets in the overworld that's really, really neat. And it's just been a lot of fun. That's mostly what I've been doing. I jumped online to play a couple of, see what like the top levels are and stuff. I want to get into the creator really bad. I just haven't gotten to it.
Okay.
One of the ones I played online was a table tennis match versus a computer. So it's like the spring, similar with a tall bullet bill launcher, and a spring on top of the bullet bill launcher horizontally.
Okay.
And there's a red shell that's bouncing between
that's really
on
cool.
music notes, and you're jumping to hit a spring that hits your, the bullet bill launcher with a spring on top is basically your paddle.
Okay.
So you're jumping to hit the thing up, to hit the shell, to bounce off here, and this one's just bouncing up and down. So, like, typical Super Mario Maker, like, people do awesome stuff.
Really, yeah.
And that's kind of what makes this game great. I loved the first one. I wasn't, like, blown away, like, oh, my God, this is amazing. Some of the changes they made in this game makes me feel like I might really, really love this game.
Okay, so that's actually what I was going to ask you. So I haven't gotten it yet, and you don't need to sell me on a Mario game.
Right.
But I was just curious, because I really enjoyed the first one. And when I was going to go pick up the second one, I was busy, but I was also did I exhaust, like, everything I wanted to do in
I don't
Mario
think so.
Maker?
Because they added all these little things where it's like the conditions and it sounds so silly because some of the things are so slight, but they make such a difference in the creator mode where I could imagine. So now you can set where the camera wall is on the right side. So picture a Mario level in Super Mario Maker, the original. Say you have a wall of blocks on the right side of the screen. If you walk, the camera will stop where that block is, but if you keep walking towards the wall, you'll see empty space past the block. Right?
Okay.
This, you can say the camera locks here. Just like how they built Super Mario World, right? Camera locks here, so you can't see that it's all one stage. You know what I'm saying? And that little detail of being able to be like, hey, now it feels like when you enter a door, you're entering a new world. You know what I mean? You're entering a new area instead of it just being like, okay, this is going to be a door to get me on the other side of this wall. It makes the ghost house feel like an actual mystery, like, all right, where's this door taking me, rather than like, you can see the strings,
right?
Just there's like 100 things like that just make me excited to jump in and try creating stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think Super Mario Maker 2 is just an incredible game, and I'm super excited to play some more.
Cool, man.
Last game on my list is an interesting one because it's going to take a lot of explaining for you. Because you're dumb.
Yeah, I guess I'm an idiot.
No, because you don't know anything about Dota or auto chess. The words auto chess are probably brand new in your brain.
Yeah, auto chess is new. Dota I tried to play.
Yeah.
Just my computer couldn't handle it.
So the game I'm talking about is called Dota Underlords.
Ooh,
it's out on phones and Steam right now in beta. And now I'm going to explain what an auto chess is.
Okay.
It's the stupidest name I've ever heard. And what they're calling it now that there's a bunch of clones, is an auto battler, which I like better. Auto chess has no bearing on what this game is, and it's just misleading. The reason it was called auto chess when it first came out, it was a mod of Dota 2.
Okay.
And it's a 8x8 grid or whatever, however many, 9, whatever it is, where it looks like a chessboard, right? And you're setting up, basically the way it goes is the high level idea is you're getting Dota heroes and you're making a team on the chessboard, and then they're fighting another team automatically.
Okay.
You're not in direct control of any of them, so it's a strategy game. You're picking your team. You're saying, all right, these guys work well together. These guys don't, blah, blah, blah. You're getting items. You're equipping them on people. So it's like it's a top-level strategy game where you have no direct control over the units. The reason these games are good and popular and fun is because they have a lot of depth to them. So each hero, like a Dota hero, has what they call alliances in Dota Underlords. Now, alliances could be mage, it could be knight, it could be warrior. And what these do is on the right side of your screen, you're going to see a alliance list. And it'll show, let's say, Savage, for example. If you get 2 units that have the tag Savage, then you get plus 15% attack damage for your whole team. If you get 3 units that are warriors, you get plus 10 armor for all warriors. So you're like combining units in order to make synergies that make your squad stronger that allow you to defeat other people, right? And the way the game works is there's 10 people in the lobby, and you're battling against one of their armies each time, and you're defending against someone else's army.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's almost like you're getting 2 battles at once. If you defeat somebody's army, everyone starts with 100 HP for their character, kind of like in Magic the Gathering, where like you have health, and then your cards have health. So everyone starts with 100 HP. Depending on how badly you lose a certain amount of health. So you might lose 5 HP if you get beat up pretty bad, and then later in the game you might lose 20, you know? And when you get to 0, you're out of the match. So you're constantly like moving up and down this board on the right that's sorted by highest health to lowest health. And you want to be the last man standing to win, obviously. The cool thing it does, it has a ranking system that, like, you know, it's like rookie 1 through 5, and then, like, you know, there's silly names like Smuggler is one of them. And once you get to rank 5 in your respective level, you move up to the next tier, rank 1, right? And then you're going up and up, and then you move to the next one, you know, rank 1. The game is cool because you don't need to get first place in order to start ranking up. Like, if you get a top 3 finish, like you come in 3rd, you might move up a couple levels, because it's a tough game, and, you know, it is a lot of random stuff. So the way the moment to moment action is like, okay, my guys battle another set of guys. You get gold after each round. So your base gold, you get 5 gold. And then what you're doing is you're buying heroes. So it'll pop up a list of 5 random heroes. You're like, ooh, I want one of this guy, and then they go to your little bench, and then you can click and drag them onto the field in order to fight next round, right? So basically the 2 things are gold and experience. As you gain experience, you level up, and your level is how many units you're allowed to have on the board at once. So if you're level 3, you can have 3 heroes on the board at once. If you're level 10, you could have 10 different guys on the board. So you're doing a balancing act of, do I want to spend, because you can spend 5 gold to get 4 experience. So you're like, do I want to spend my gold on my experience to level up in order to get more guys out there? Or do I want to spend my gold on buying heroes that I need to make stronger teams? The other part, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of all this, but that's the basic idea, is like, you're buying heroes, you're putting them out in the field, they're fighting each other. So it's very strategic. You're planning, who's going to be good against who. What do I want to do here? The only other little thing I want to talk about is if you get 3 of the same kind of unit. So let's say there's a guy named Axe, right? He's a big beefy guy with a big axe. And if you get 3 axes, he goes from a 1-star hero to a 2-star. So he actually gets bigger on the screen. His health goes way up. It's like leveling up.
So you can level.
So the way you level your guys up is buying more versions of that character.
Gotcha.
So in game, you're like, okay, there's another axe. I'm gonna get him, and then my guy's gonna get bigger, and now I need to get other heroes.
So that's how you level up. So you don't lose your current guy. You just upgrade
each round.
As you
So each round, whether your guys live or die, everyone respawns at the end of the round.
Okay.
It's not like you're keeping guys in the game and they're dying and you're fielding them again. It's like, this is your team, and then you're just upgrading them as you go.
Gotcha.
It is a really fantastic game. I like it a lot. The only complaint I have is it's a mobile game, right? I'm playing on my phone. It's long for a mobile game. It's like...
Well, Dota went for hours too, right?
So Dota usually, depending on when you were playing, usually between 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
This game is like a solid 25 to 40 minutes.
Wow.
For a phone game.
It's a
lot. But I think it's really, really well made. They're constantly patching and adding things and fixing bugs. Like, I see patch notes every day from these guys.
Okay.
It's a great product. It's really, really good. There are other auto chess games out there that you can certainly try. League of Legends just put one out, because everyone's chasing this dragon now. But I think Dota Underlords personally, as someone that's a fan of Dota in general, so it's an easier entry point for me. I know what the items are. I generally know what the heroes are good or bad at, right?
Okay.
So I have like an inherent advantage to this one rather than other auto chess games. I just really like it. I think it's really good.
Awesome, man.
It's really well made. It's well balanced, well designed. They're constantly tweaking little things. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I hope.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I didn't get too in the weeds explaining it.
No.
It is very confusing.
I'm glad you're enjoying it because I know how much you enjoyed the previous Dotas. So that's really cool that
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that they did like a little spinoff with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have complicated feelings about the game as a whole based on the fact that, hey, the person that first made this type of game made it as a mod to Dota 2. And now you have a game that's this game with the Dota character.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I have complicated feelings about that in general, like from a capitalistic perspective.
Right.
But I think as a game of itself,
you're enjoying it.
I really like it a lot.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a great game.
Cool. Cheers, mate.
So that's Dota Underlords. Yeah, you got the right idea. The Underlords are all Cockney. But yeah, that's about it for the games we've been playing. Let's jump right into the game of the year check-in. I have a list. I always keep a list of every game I played this year.
So do I.
Oh, pull it out just in case you have a few. I don't. First one I have written is the Eternal Castle Remastered. Pretty forgettable game. It's not a bad game. It's just not something I think is going to be in the conversation at all.
Okay.
New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
I didn't even play that.
So I played it. It's that game.
Another Mario.
Well, it's the same
game.
one.
Yeah.
It's New Super Mario Bros. U.
Oh, then I played that one.
They just added some little things to it.
Oh, well, then I did play it.
Yeah.
And
it's good. I like it. I don't.
Another Mario game.
Yeah, I certainly don't love it in the way I love some of the other Mario games.
Right. That's an interesting thing to talk about, though. I wonder, why those games aren't. I love Mario U. I love Mario for the Wii, the one in the red box, whatever Mario Wii.
Yes, that's New Super Mario Bros.
In Luigi U. I enjoy them, but I just have so much more reverence for the classics, and I don't know why. I don't know. Is that just nostalgia, or
it's two things? One, it's nostalgia. Two,
they're not pushing the envelope in any way.
They're not changing anything.
Those
making
games
it interesting. Because the real comparison should be New Super Mario Bros. Games to 3D World.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed 3D World
because it's doing something different.
That's what it is.
That's
okay,
what it is.
Interesting.
Sorry, I sometimes I say these things like I know the right answer. That's just what I'm thinking.
Dan, you are my wise sage.
You are like a jerk.
You are my Yoda.
I just heard myself.
You're not a jerk, Dan. You're beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
You're perfect.
Next on the list, I have Slay the Spire.
Oh, I've played Slay the Spire.
Nice.
I really.
I played a ton of Slay the Spire last year when it was in early access.
Okay.
I love Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire might be on my top 10. Right now, for definitely.
It is an excellent game. It's funny. I like to keep mental checklist of which games I really love throughout the year. So I do this kind of check-in, maybe once a month or something. But there are always games I go through and I'm like, that's a top 10, that's a top 10 for me right now. And it's hard because we're halfway through the year, and I feel like I have 7 games on here that are that needs
That's
to
the
be
one,
on
yeah.
the top
We got
10.
6 more months of incredible games.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And based on some of the games that are coming out later this year,
we'll be on the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they suck. You never know.
Could be. You never know. I don't see Doom Eternal not being on there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or Wolfenstein or Death Stranding.
Exactly, Dan. Exactly.
But Slay the Spire, really, really enjoyable.
Slay the Spire,
Doing
I
something
love.
different.
Absolutely love that game. I would definitely say that's probably a contender up there.
Yeah, amen to that.
Next on my list is Pikuniku.
Oh yes, Pikuniku.
Fun little game. I think there's no way it hangs.
I wanted to love that a Wander song, and it was fun and it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Actually, probably the first game I played this year.
Yeah, it was fun, interesting. Nothing to write home about. Next, I have Resident Evil 2.
Well, yes.
So that's an amazing game. I love that game. I think that one definitely belongs in the conversation for top 10.
I think most would agree. I would agree.
Yeah. Then I have Sunless Skies.
I don't remember that game.
It was one that I played and thought I was going to like a lot more than I did. I wasn't the biggest fan. I also have Life is Strange 2, episode 2 and 3.
How do you like when you do your rankings?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like since part 1 came out 2018?
Yeah, it's complicated. You know what makes my life a little easier is I don't think it's going to be a top 10.
Well, it makes life easier.
Yeah, it makes life easier.
I mean, life is strange and life is easier.
It is strange, but sometimes it's easier. Next, I have Wargroove. Do you remember Wargroove? It's like a oh god, am I really blanking on the name? Advance Wars.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Okay.
So much to love about this game. The further I get away from it, the more I remember the annoying stuff.
Gotcha.
And I think that's kind of the theme of
the
looking
tell.
back on this stuff is if you remember the annoying stuff more than the stuff you loved, then maybe it's not a game that you really like that much. Apex Legends, however,
Legends.
A game I do love and continue to love. Coming out this upcoming Tuesday, season 2 starts. Yeah. Launching with Watson, the new character. Really excited for that.
I gotta say, I'm not a fan of those sort of games, but Apex Legends I had a blast with until all the 12-year-olds got really good and started to kill me. But
Apex Legends is a triumph. It is a amazing game.
I agree, and it's even more impressive to me in a world of Fortnite that here this game came out. And
yes.
Just like
yes.
Go Apex.
Yeah, I'm super happy with that game, and I continue to play the hell out of it. So that one definitely in the conversation. Next, I have Tetris 99.
Okay.
Thought that game was awesome. I played it for a very short period of time. Played it a bunch. Loved it.
This is good for me because this lets me know what games I have to like.
This is why we're doing the segment, Dan, for you.
Just for me. You're just way too kind.
Yeah. It's a fun little thing. I don't think it's anything too memorable or exciting.
So right now I'm caught up.
Okay, good. Metro Exodus, huge disappointment.
I know, Dan, you've had poo-poo feelings on it.
Very upset about it. We don't need to linger on that.
All right.
Next, I have Ape Out.
Oh, Ape Out.
Ape Out is a fantastic game.
I wonder if it's going to be top 10.
I know. That's what I keep thinking because I worry. There's a few games on this list. There's 3 in particular, and we'll get to the other 2.
Okay.
Ape Out's the first one on the list that I feel this way about. I'm afraid it's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, of all the other great games.
I am afraid, and I love that game.
It came out, February? I'm sorry, I just played
February.
footsies with you a little bit.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I love the heck out of it, too.
I know.
And
me too.
That's the problem I get. Even then, though, if it came out in November, still, it's
right.
still...
It's a matter of comparing it to the field, right?
Yeah. It might be top 5, on another year.
Yeah. I feel like we always have games that we say that about.
Yeah. Ape Out, we love you.
Ape Out, honestly, though, I could definitely see it sneaking on there.
Ape Out was a cool game.
It's a great game. Then we have Devil May Cry 5.
Well, yeah.
Great game.
As much as I'm really, that also might have to be in the top 10.
Uh-huh.
As of right now, it's definitely in my top 10.
I'm keeping a mental note of how many games you're saying are in your top 10.
How many do I have so far?
Because remember last year for me, when we were doing the Game of the Year discussions, and you're like, Dan, you keep telling me that these games are definitely going to be in your personal top 10. Dan's like, I can't wait to see your top 10. I'm like, shit, he's calling me out so hard right now. I know he's right, too.
How many do I have so far?
4.
Slay the Spire, Devil May Cry, Ape Out, Apex. All right.
5 then, if you're including Apex, because I was thinking of Resident Evil.
Damn. Halfway there.
Baba Is You.
That's
number 2 out of the 3 that I'm talking about that I'm afraid is going to get lost in the shuffle.
I really hope not. And I think Baba Is You is so special.
Love
and so
Baba
many,
Is You.
I love Ape Out, but Baba Is You has something that's...
Baba Is You, I can't wait to spoil the shit out of because you guys haven't seen a goddamn thing because this game goes places.
Which is crazy.
And you got to get really deep in to get to it.
Because I hit a wall. I hit an actual wall where I'm just like, and I could just look it up, but I don't want to because part of the thrill is away.
I know. But also, you need to see some of this stuff. I think maybe if you think to yourself near the end of the year and you're like, I don't know if I'm, there's no way I'm going to get through this, I would say just look them up.
I am dumb.
Because I do want you to see. It's not because it's a very hard game.
Those puzzles, though, there's moments. I guess I haven't seen what I should see. Maybe I'll see God at the end of the game.
Yeah,
apparently, the way that it seems,
Could be. But no, I think it's worth experiencing, even if you have to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe over the next couple of months, if you decide, there's no way I'm going to get through this, just look them up. Third on the list of the 3 games.
Okay.
Hypnospace Outlaw.
Oh, I don't even remember this game.
It's the one where it's like the old interface, and you're like the cop. You're like the internet cop, where you have to like mark things as. Yeah. Man, I cannot wait to do a video of that later in the year because you guys need to see that game.
I'd love that, man.
It is so fucking cool. And it hurts me to even say, like, I feel like that Baba Is You and Ape Out are 3 small games that I adore, and I know not all 3 of them are making it. There's no way. So it's gonna be another
7-hour-long video of us debating.
Oh yeah, for sure. Next on the list, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Well, I
think that one might be a lock.
That's definitely a lock.
So if you're still counting there, Dan, that's
6 games.
6 if you're not including Baba Is You.
Oh, I was including Baba Is You.
That's 7. You have 7 already.
Sekiro definitely though. Sekiro.
Obviously. Sekiro,
Sekiro is my game of the year right now, and I know you're telling me about the Outer Wilds, and I can't wait to play that. But right now Sekiro is my number. Honestly, I don't see it being any lower than 1 or 2.
Right. It is a fantastic game.
Just because of for me, like a game that, like, there's games that like I'll play through and like I'll enjoy, but there's very few that I want to explore every nook and cranny, do everything, replay. And Sekiro has that, so
it's such a good game.
I can't imagine it being.
Obviously, we love it. We talk about it on this podcast all the time.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And we did a whole video series with Shelby playing through it, so we love this game.
We like From Software.
Yes. Next on the list, Yoshi's Crafted World. Not making the cut, I would have to say.
Though I love you, Yoshi and Poochie and Shy Guy.
Then I have Risk of Rain 2. I never got into it. Okay. I played it. I was happy to see it. Yeah, that was about it. Didn't really stick with me. Photographs. This was that small game of little vignettes where there were like different puzzles that were telling this overarching, little stories. Another one that could have been really something special, and with a couple annoyances and a couple of, I didn't think the writing was very good. You know what I was trying to. This is like probably about months too late, but there was a thing where I was comparing this game when I said, you know how sometimes there can be a creator that's better, the less they say, the more profound they seem.
Oh.
And we were trying to like figure out who.
This was.
So this is what brought it up.
Okay.
But I was like, who am I thinking of? It was Joseph Fares. Brothers.
Yes. With so much
more. You thought profound, it was like such a profound, like a really meaningful experience, and then you see him write dialogue. You're like, oh, now I know why you didn't write dialogue in that other game.
Way out.
Because you don't know what the hell you're doing with human interaction.
What are you, just a big faker, Mr. Pretender?
So Photographs kind of has that syndrome, where a lot of their other games weren't story based. They were all like puzzlers. And now they try to do a story-based game, and it was sloppy.
Gotcha.
Then I have Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. Really fun, really silly game. I'm not going to discount it from definitely being a top 10 game, but I would be surprised if it made it based on all the other stuff. Pathway, the FTL-style Indiana Jones game that I wish was good, but is not good.
So we know that that's not.
Rad, I played.
Gosh, how many games do you play?
Rad is not even out yet, but I got that chance to play it early in beta. You know what's funny is, I think because I wanted to love this game, it was like, it was a little higher in my head. I don't think it's very good.
Okay.
We'll see. I want to get my hands on the full release. Dreams.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I need to see if it comes out of beta before the end of the year, and then we need to make that decision.
Right.
Because there's a lot there, but it's missing its main story. And are we really going to judge it based on just the creator suite? I know you could. I know that's a full game in and of itself,
which is incredible,
which is awesome. Every time I launch that game, I don't always bring it up on the podcast because I'll launch it for like 30 minutes or something and play a random thing. I'm like blown away by the stuff I see.
Seriously,
the stuff people are creating now, especially like as they've gotten their hands on it for a while, it's just incredible.
People much more imaginative than me make incredible things, and I'll play them. It's kind of like Mario Maker, honestly. It's the same sort of thing. Like, I'm not that creative, but like other people are, and like I really enjoy that.
That's the beauty of these type of games. Is there could be somebody that just creates and says it's their favorite game ever, and there could be somebody that just plays the games and says it's their favorite game ever.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an interesting thing. So yeah, we'll see when that finally releases. Then we got Katana Zero.
I really like Katana Zero.
Dan really likes it.
But honestly, I don't know if it'll be top 10.
Well, we'll see. I think at the very least it'd be in the discussion if you know you're really.
For me at least, I
also have not finished it. I got about halfway, maybe a little bit more. And I don't know if I'll get back to it. Maybe before Game of the Year, I'll binge the rest of it. But yeah, we got Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay.
Excellent game, love it. When I make my mental list of games that I think need to be on my top 10, like right now, this one doesn't make the cut.
Doesn't make the cut.
And that doesn't mean it won't get on there. I don't know what the rest of the year is going to hold. But if I'm the one that played it, and I'm personally saying there are 7 games on this list that I think need to be on, and that's not one of them,
yeah,
I think it might have a tough one. Imperator Rome. A game that I thought I was going to love more than I did, and then Total War 3 Kingdoms came out, and I realized how much I didn't love Imperator Rome. Plague Tale Innocence.
That's a game, you mentioned Ape Out and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, this game I really enjoyed, and it might be overlooked
I know.
And that's a shame, because it really is. It was a cool experience.
We'll see, though. Observation. You didn't finish it, right?
No. Have you?
No.
Yeah, no, I haven't gone back to it. And that's really frustrating because it's one of the coolest aesthetics.
And storylines. Like, I love what they're going for.
It's crazy when you think about it, what goes into like a good game and a game that I love. And it's honestly the sum of all the parts, because if one part is extremely wonky, it can ruin everything else. And that's Observation for me.
I know. I definitely am going to force myself to see the story through.
Yeah.
I have to see it. Because I really am so interested in it, but I just can't bring myself to play it more. That's sad. Total War 3 Kingdoms, I mentioned before.
I know you
love that game. Played 30 hours of it in like 2 weeks. Like, loved it. So yeah, that one's in the discussion. Dauntless.
What do you think?
Not good. Not good. Thumbs down.
2 thumbs down?
1.5.
3 thumbs
down. Game of the Year, Outer Wilds is next on the list. No, I joke about this game, but it is incredibly special, and for me, one of my favorite games ever, probably.
Wow. Let's play it.
So, more to come on that soon. Me and Dan are going to start up a series where he gets to play Outer Wilds.
And then I can talk about it.
Spoiler for you guys. Look for that this upcoming Friday. Next, I have Void Bastards on the list.
Okay.
I really like it a lot. It kind of fell by the wayside when other stuff came out that I was playing, like specifically Outer Wilds and Cadence of Hyrule.
Okay.
I got into those games, and I was like, okay. These games are more what I want right now. But it doesn't take away that this is a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if Shelby has gotten around to it yet. Next, I have Cadence of Hyrule. Just mentioned it. I love this game.
Fantastic game.
It's incredible.
Again, that's a game, though. I wonder.
I know.
If it'll...
It's interesting.
Because you look at last year... I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, because genuinely, there are some big, very important to us games coming this year. And we already have a lot on this list that are very important to us. So it's interesting to think which ones are going to get thrown by the wayside. I love Cadence of Hyrule. I would love for that to be in our top 10.
What's funny is like last year, like when we were doing our list, there was maybe games 9 through 15 could have all like been interchangeable.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
like in 10's arbitrary. So like, why are we doing 10? Let's do our top 17 games. Come on.
We're doing 10. Damn it, we're doing 10. But yeah, I love Kane's Hyrule. I think it's just a fantastic.
I agree. It's a Zelda game.
It's a Zelda game. Then now we get into the stuff we talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
My Friend Pedro, Dota Underlords, Bloodstained, and Super Mario Maker 2, which we just talked about, so we don't need to
go into that.
I
know Bloodstained's not going to hang, unfortunately.
We'll see when you finish it, Dan. Honestly, maybe something starts to click. I don't know.
We'll see.
Only time will tell, Dan. And that is going to do it for the podcast. Dan, thanks for joining me on this intimate dive into video games.
It's been a pleasure, Dan. There's nothing more intimate that I'd like to share with you
than a podcast. Thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for listening. And like I said, check out the YouTube channel if you want to see an Outer Wilds playthrough. I'm going to sit there with Dan, kind of like what I did with Shelby for Sekiro. We're going to do the entirety of Outer Wilds.
Cool.
It's kind of the perfect way, in my experience, to experience this game for the first time, because I'm just gonna kind of be there, and then because there are a few moments that are very tricky and kind of stumped me, and I think having somebody there that can help guide you is gonna really help the experience.
Will there be sandwiches and wine coolers?
Time will tell, then.
All right, we'll see.
But thank you guys again for listening, and until next time.
We missed you, Shelby. See you next time.
Peace. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching and or listening. Just here to remind you that you can find us by searching for Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming on any of these podcast services: Anchor, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, or Stitcher. By God, I'm out of breath because of all these podcast services, but you can find us anywhere there. Also, you can find our video version on YouTube by searching Circle Back Podcast or Circle Back Gaming, and the rest of the videos we do. Thanks, guys.